is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So we'll take a look at some stocks here. Take a look, first of all, at Walmart, at StarBucks, at Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy selling stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, here we have Walmart. Now, Walmart came out and they had actually really good numbers. It was a big surprise over what Target did. So they're actually looking pretty good. You can see the stock is, kind of reflecting that. So this is actually looking very, very good. Okay, but again, what I don't like is we gapped up. You see that? Okay, so now really your key support level is going to be right here. Is going to be that 50-day at 103.50, your 21-day at 102.98, and then we have that 8-day at 103. Everything is sitting right there. Now, if you look at the bottom of today's candle, you're looking at 102.68. There's your gap. And then we look to the top of that candle at 101.71. There's your fill. Okay, so you have your gap and your fill. If you lose that 50-day, the 8-day, and that 21 SMA, then obviously we have that 100-day, and then we have your retest down here. Look at the price channel at 98.88, and then we have your 200-day at 97.85. Okay, now you can see nice big ass green candle. Look at that, right into the resistance level. Okay, so you're looking at 107.57. So all we have to do is just bring this right across here. We have 107.57. Okay. Right there. Okay, so your next level is going to be, if you keep on running, is going to be 107.77 right here. Is going to be this level. Is going to be this 108.25 level. Okay, so that's going to be your next level. Then we can come right up all the way up here to this 109.58. Now, if we crack that 109.58, obviously you'll venture right towards that 120 area, 125. That's pretty simple, Now, again, we have this RSI. Well, this is still nowhere near overbought. This has plenty of room to run. The green is sideways, but you can see the green crossed over your red, which shows that momentum to the upside. So actually, this is looking very, very good here on a nice, good on a chart. Now, when we get this sideways action, see how we have this sideways actions kind of situation, but we're making nice higher highs and higher lows, which is always good. But once we start, you crack out of that, okay, which means you crack out of that 109, then she can rip up really, really hard, because what you're doing is you're creating energy as this is going sideways. Now, again, it can also rip to the bottom just the same, but a lot of times they'll just rip up. Now, they had really, really good numbers. Now, you're coming into the holiday season. So, again, Walmart is looking here pretty good. So just watch that right there, 107.57. That's going to be very, very key level. Right there, and then we can come right up to that next level as that 108.25 and then 109.58. So it isn't really that much resistance above this, but we crack this. I'm not talking about pop and drop, but if we close above this, that 109.58, then I say 120 is going to be your next target. Okay, let's take a look here now at StarBucks. Here we have StarBucks. Now, StarBucks is having an issue. When they first came out, this was like a really hot stock and all this kind of stuff. So, again, it's having issues because what it is they're unionizing. So, I don't know how much people can actually spend for a cup of coffee. I'll give you an example. Okay, they built a new Starbucks over here, and they sent us a coupon in the mail. So, the wife says, I'm going to go out and get a Starbucks. I said, okay, let's take over that. So, she goes in there. She had a coupon for $5. I says, well, what'd you get? She's like, I got pretty much a basic coffee. And she said, but I didn't have enough. I says, $5 doesn't buy you a cup of coffee anymore? She said, no, it was like $5.35 or something. I says, you got to be kidding me for a coffee. Now, if you want a specialty coffee, you're looking at $7, $8. But, a union coffee, this is going to be very, very, going forward, it's really not what I call one of my favorite stocks anymore. This is like long gone, unless we see some kind of a run-up situation, all right? I mean, I bought a Ninja coffee bar from Sam's Club. I think it cost me $99. I can make any kind of a coffee I want for what, maybe 5 cents a cup or something? I mean, there's also going to be a limit there on what people are paying. The same thing goes with these autos. It's going to be very limited. When you start talking about $70, $80, $90, $100,000 for a truck, there's going to be a line there that's just not going to be what. And matter of fact, a lot of defaults on car loans, plenty going on here right now. Okay, so always keep that in mind. Anyway, we take a look here at StarBucks. Okay, we had this nice double bottom situation going here. Okay, see that nice double bottom? Okay, then it rallied all the way up here. We got as high as that 89.06. You put a topping tail and it couldn't hold at that level. Okay, on this level, and it came right on down. So right now, let me big that up for you. I can see that a little better. Okay, there you go. Okay, so right now everything is just like a total cluster here. Okay, so on the downside, you're really watching that 50-day, that 83.80. If it comes, we lose that, we come right to the bottom of that candle, 82.34. We'll come down here, 81.76, and then we have this 79.04, and then we have your retest at 77.99 level, okay? Now, on the upside, well, you got to get and close above this key 21-day. you're sitting right there at that 84.20, and then you have your 8-day sitting right there at that 85.01. Now, if you get above that, you got your big target at 87.31, which is your 100-day, and then we have this big retest of that topping tail, which is going to be 89.06, and then we have 90.06 level. Realistically, this has to get and close above this 200-day, this 90.64 level. If it does, then we have nice upside targets going on here. Then we all do is just bring this price channel right across. There's your target right there at that 93.58. We'll bring this price channel across. What do you got? You got 94.85 level. We'll come to the top of there. You got 97.89, and then we come up to the top of there at that 98.89 level. Okay, so this is why these price channels, blue lines, all these are just price channels, but it makes it easy because as it's selling off, it leaves on the other side all your resistance levels is when it turns. Okay, so all you do is bring those levels across. That's all your resistance levels, all your upside targets. Okay, so we're sitting pretty much in the middle here of these price targets. So you're sitting at 89.06 on the high side, 77.99 on the downside, and we basically just have this kind of a sideways rolling action. So for me, this is not my kind of stock, but they were talking about it on CNBC here, so I figured I'd just show it to you. So again, realistically, you got to close above that 90.64, that 200-day, then we can start hitting all these upside targets. Okay, let's take a look here now at one of my favorites that I own is Goldman Sachs. All right, here we have Goldman Sachs. Okay, now this is one I'm a long-term holder of this. I also trade this. This and JP Morgan are my favorite. Okay, now you can see this top ski going on here. Look at this. We rallied all the way on up here, all the way to that 816 now. You notice I couldn't hold it, and where is it right now? Right below that 8-day. Okay, so you can't just pop and drop like this here. You know, you got to hold that 8-day. So that's going to be key on the upside. Is that 797.37? You have to close above that. Okay, if you can, then what we can do is we come right over here to the top of this candle. You're looking at that 807.14 level. We'll bring this price channel across. We're looking at that 809.62. We'll come up here. You're looking at 825 level, and then we have your big retest there at 841.28. We crack about that over that, then you're going to be heading towards that 900 mark very easily. Now on the downside, right here, you want to watch. It's got to hold this 790. There's your 21-day and that key 50 SMA here sitting at 786. Okay, that's going to be very, very crucial on a closing basis. You want to hold that. Now, if we lose that, we come down here to yesterday's low, looking at 775. We'll come down to the bottom of this candle, 766, and then we have your 100-day sitting right there at 756, and then retest at 74.66 level. Okay, so right now here, this looking, I don't never want to see these topping tails because let's just look in the past here when we had a topping tail. What happened? She sold right on off. Okay, so always watch these topping tail situations. So we have to get back by the end of the day. Is you got to get it back above that 797. If not, we're going to retest that 21-day right there, and we're going to test that 50-day. If we start losing that, your big target's going to be that 100-day and your retest of 744. Now, you can see here, you're only sitting at 52. That's not overbought or oversold. The green, this is like a sideways action. So right now, I mean, all we have is just a sideways action kind of situation. But there's your big breakout is that 841. We crack above it, then we head towards that 900 area. All right, let's take a look here now at JP Morgan. Here we have JP Morgan. Now you can see here, it pretty much did the old same thing as Goldman. Okay, look at that. She popped right on up here, right above. Look, you can see how much is hitting right there. So that roughly that 307 area. Okay, what do we got there on that 21-day? You are looking at 307 area. And so look at 307. You got to get back above that whole situation. However, one good thing about it is we had this gap in this fill, so obviously that is filled now, okay? But if we can get above that 307 area, we'll look through today's high, looking at that 309.92 level, okay? Then we'll come right on to the top of that candle. You're looking at that 312.87. Then we'll venture all the way up on top of there at 317.81. And then we'll come here to the top of this candle. You're looking at 320.63, and then 322.25 is your breakout. We cracked that 322.25. You're going toward that 350 area. Now, downside, well, we're going to be looking here. Today's low, 305.38 level. Then we come over to the top of this candle right there. You're looking at 302.95. And then we have the old 100-day right there at 300. We lose that. We'll come to the bottom of yesterday's candle, 299.27. We'll come down here at 297.02. And then we have your retest at 292 level. And then the big target is going to be there is at 290. Okay, but right now we got pretty much the same thing. Not overbought or oversold. The green is below your red. So it shows your momentum to the downside, which it has. try to rally up, but you got to get above that 307 level. If you can't, you ain't going there. That's just reality. Okay. So right now we got a little ping pong action. We're going to be going through, your 8, 21, 50 day on the high side and your 20 and your 100 day there on the downside. We got to see which one is going to win out. Okay. Now, when we look at these overall markets that we had a huge rally up this morning. I mean, off of NVIDIA. Okay. Huge rally. NVIDIA got all the way to 196 flat. Now you're sitting down at that 187. Okay, so right now the market basically everything is just coming off. Okay, so the Dow's up still 140, the S&P's up 20, and the Nasdaq's up at 81. But these were up there. Nasdaq was up over 400. Dow was up over 500. So we're losing that. Same way with the old Bitcoin. Bitcoin was rolling up higher. Now you can see where the Bitcoin is just coming right on off here. So again, these are traders markets. So always remember that, because realistically right now, this time of the year, you got the tax selling. I think we're going to get a nice Santa Claus rally, but you got the tax selling situation. Okay, and now they're talking about with this rate cut, because the job numbers came in good. They came in and you created 119,000 jobs, but okay, they're saying, oh, well, maybe not, get that quarter point cut and all this kind of stuff. But, what they don't understand is the interest rates actually go by the Treasury, not really by what the interest rate, what he's going to be cutting kind of a situation. Okay, so always have to remember that. But again, traders market, traders market, traders market. That's what we have going on. So that's what we want to do. When you have a profit, take it, put it in your pocket, just like I did this morning. I just said, boom, right off the gate on TQQs. Got as high as 53.54. Now, remember, you look at TQQs and it looks like, oh, it's down 49 points. Remember, it did a 2-for-1 split. Okay, so today was a split ski. So, it got as high as 53.54. I was out of there at 53.20. I didn't get the high, but I got a pretty damn good chunk of change there. You know what I mean? So again, traders market. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.